In this video, I'm going to show you how to read a 0 to 1 inch standard micrometer. This micrometer will read as accurate as 1/10,000th of an inch. That's the 4 decimal place 1 there that you see. Just going to start by zeroing my micrometer. So this is the thimble ratchet that you're always going to use to tighten it, and so you don't over tighten it. And we'll wait for my focus here, and I will tighten it all the way in. What you're looking for here is that this 0 on the movable thimble lines up with the 0 on the number sleeve. I've pre-zeroed this micrometer, so it comes with a little tool, and if you need to turn your sleeve so those numbers line up, you can do so. I'm going to start by just opening this thimble up and exposing some numbers and lines so we can see a pattern arise here. You can see that it starts at 0. Then we have whole numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 0 again. Okay? The 0 that I showed you was 0.0000. And if I open this micrometer all the way up, so my 0 lines up with that 0. So my 0 on my thimble wheel lines up with the 0 on the number sleeve here. That is exactly 1 inch, 1.0000. Okay, when you're taking a measurement and say my micrometer lands right here, it has a lock. You can engage the lock so your measurement won't move. And now I'm going to read these numbers and show you how I'm coming up with them. A little bit of autofocus there. The first thing you're going to do is read the large numbers that are on your sleeve here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you're going to read the largest number that's exposed there. So clearly, you can see that the number 8 is fully exposed. So you're going to write that down on a piece of paper as 0.800. That's 800 thousandths of an inch. Then the next step, after reading the number line, is to read these little graduation lines after the number 8. Now we have to see how many lines are exposed after the number 8. And you're going to see 1, 2 fully exposed lines there, and almost another one. But it's kind of like reading a clock. Until that line's fully exposed, you don't count it. So with 2 lines exposed, you can see between, let's say, the numbers 7 and 8, there are 3 lines. Each line represents a quarter. So this would be 7 1/4, 7 1/2, 7 3/4, and 8. We have 2 lines exposed after the 8. The way we're going to add those is 0, 5, 0. Each line like this represents 0.025 of an inch. Where up here, the numbers ... are equal to 0.1 each one of them. Do you see that? Now, the last number that we need to read, or second last number that we need to read, is which line on the movable thimble, just wait for my focus here, which line on the movable thimble lines up with this 0 line on the sleeve. I'm going to hold it still so It's clear. You can see the number 20, 21, but it's not quite at 22. So again, you always count the number that has gone past the 0. So I will. How do I write that down? I write that down in thousandths of an inch again. 0, 2, 1. 21 lines up with the 0. 21 and something. Pretty close to 22, but 21 and something. So you can see here that the numbers on this thimble, okay, if I were to go dot, 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 0, it would go dot, 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 10, and all around to 25. 10, 5, or sorry, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. The number reading is 21. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these 3-digit numbers together. And I'm going to get 1, 7, 8. It's 0 point because this micrometer reads from 0 to 1 inch. So all my numbers are going to be 0 point something. Now, the final step, and it's kind of a cool one, is getting the 4th decimal point. You can see that we are on 21 but close to 22, so I imagine my 4th decimal point is going to be a rather high number. So we have these numbers along this left side: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 again. What you're going to do is determine which number here makes a straight line with one of the lines on the thimble. Then that number here will represent your 4th decimal point. So I will stop my pen from rolling and check this out. I'm going to do it without staring at the camera because I want this to be very accurate. I'm expecting a high number. So 9 is very, very close to a straight line. 8 is, and so is 7. But the straight line is formed with the number 8. You should clearly see that there. So what we do at the 8 is we add it to the end. And there we have accurately measured something to 1/10,000th of an inch. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is actually measure a part. So I've got this wrist pin out of an engine, piston pin if you will, and I know my micrometer zeroed, so I'm going to put the piston pin in the jaws of the micrometer, and I'm going to try to do my best to keep this very centered. This piston pin is accurately machined to numbers like 1/10,000th of an inch, so this is a perfect part to measure. Okay, I'm going to show you that it's in the center of the micrometer as close as I can visually with my eyes. I'm going to lock it in. I'm going to take out my piston pin and then I'm going to read my numbers. Just like we just previously finished. So, let's do this right now. The number that I see exposed is a 7. So I'm going to add 0.700. Now I'm going to count the number of lines that I see exposed after the 7. Each one is a quarter. So I have 1, 2, 3 lines clearly after the 7. So that means that I add 0.075. Then I'm going to look at which number lines up with the 0 on the sleeve. 11. Oh boy. I would say 12, just about exactly. This will be a really good lesson for everybody. Pretty much 12 exactly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that fourth decimal point. And that fourth decimal point will be a 0. Knowing that it's going to be a 0, that means that that 12 counts. Kind of a tricky one for everybody for a practice, but it is good. So I write down 12, I add these together. 7, 8, 7. I have 0.787, and then we'll check out that fourth decimal point, and the 0 is the one that makes the perfectly straight line. So we'll add that to the end. That's how you read a 0 to 1 inch micrometer. Here I have another micrometer to show you. And it's a 1 to 2 inch micrometer. It reads to an accuracy of 1/10,000th of an inch, which is 4 decimal places again. And it's no different to read. You're going to read those last 4 decimal places, but the number is going to start with 1. The only difference to reading a bigger micrometer is you must have one of these dies with it to zero it. This die is exactly 1.0000 of an inch. It's very precision, so make sure you take care of it. And when you got to zero this micrometer, you'll put the die in place and you'll tighten it down. I'll try to do this with one hand. What am I talking about? I'm definitely using 2 hands. Okay, so we'll line this up really good so it's precise. You can hear the ratchet click, and you can see that my 0 is lined up with my 0 line. Again, if it's not, you're going to use the wrench that comes with your micrometer to turn the sleeve. There's a hole in there so it can hook in there and turn. Anyways, that is the way that you're going to read a standard mic. It won't help you reading a metric micrometer. They are different, or a digital one. But that should give you a good understanding of how to use a standard one.